Okay, I'm going to do the practice test. I've got a brand new Python window open, and we need to check out the instructions in the practice test. I've also got a Word document open with the instructions. So the first one is we're going to do some input, some computation, some output, and so we need to write a segment of Python code which will read two numbers, hits and at-bats, determine the batting average by dividing the hits by the at-bats and print the result. Okay, so we should have an input statement for that, an input statement for that, and some calculations, or a calculation, and then printing out the result. So let's get to it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get the at-bats. I guess I asked for hits first, so I'll do hits. It's going to be an integer. We're going to input with a prompt. Ask them how many hits. And then ask them how many at-bats. Okay, so now I've got both of them. They're both integers. They've been converted from strings into integers by use of the int function here. And I could use another variable, but I don't have to. I could just say print, and what we're supposed to say here, batting average is. And then comma, and then we'll just do an expression, hits divided by at-bats. And notice I'm doing floating point division, otherwise I would get the number 0. So let's go ahead and run that. And how many hits? And we'll do the example that's in the practice test. So it should be a 333 batting average, and it is. And so we've answered question 1 on the practice test. Now let's look at this one. Ask the user for the cost of a purchase, and if it's 50 or more, then we print qualified for free shipping. Otherwise, we don't do anything. So we ask for the purchase price, and then we make a decision. Okay. So we'll leave a little bit of blank space here, and purchase price equals, and this is going to be a floating point number, so we have to take the input string and convert it to float. And we just want to prompt in for the purchase price. And then we're going to look and we're going to see if purchase, I think greater than or equal to, is that what we're checking on here? If it's 50 or more. So greater than or equal to 50, then we're going to print free shipping. And if it's not, we don't do anything. So we don't have to write any more code. So that takes care of that question. And now let's go on. We've got another decision question here. Examine an integer variable called age, and if it's 21 or more, print you may enter. If the age is not 21 or more, print go home. So this is just going to be an if with an else. So we need to get somebody's age equal to, we have that being int. We don't need to give fractions for age. And then if age is greater or equal to 21, then we'll print, and I think it said you may enter. And otherwise, we're going to print go home. Okay. And I didn't test this, which is something I should definitely do, so let's go ahead and I'm going to comment this part out. Just going to select it all and hit the pound sign on the keyboard, and then we'll just test the part that needs to be tested here. So let's go ahead and run it. And let's say the purchase price is $50 even, and it says free shipping. And for the age, let's say 21, and it should say you may enter. Now let's run it again, and we'll try it with something less than 50 and something less than 21. So purchase price is $49.99, and it doesn't print anything, and let's say 20 for the age, and it tells you to go home. Flip back over. Takes care of the first page of the practice test. And another one, we're going to make a decision. This is going to be a way decision, which means we're probably going to use elif. So we are going to enter a letter, and if the letter is R, we're going to print red, G is green, B is blue, and otherwise it's going to be not a valid color code. That says not a valid input, so these don't match. Doesn't change the logic though. So not a valid input. Actually, I think color code makes more sense. Let's change this to color code. Okay. So I asked them to enter color code, and then I've got basically a four-way branch after that. So let's flip over, and I'll comment this stuff out because I have tested this. I'm pretty convinced that it's correct. And then down here, we're going to do a color code variable. Okay. And if color code, two equal signs for comparison, R, and I'm going to print the word red. I think I have all caps, but that's kind of unimportant. The main thing here is the logic. LF, color code equals green. LF, color code blue. Else, there's only one more possibility, and that's going to be not a valid color code. So I think I get that pretty close. It's not a big deal if the prompts don't exactly match the color code. Oh, I've got RGB in here. I guess that would probably be pretty useful. So let's run it. We'll have to run this 4 times, I guess. And actually, you know what? I'm going to cancel that. And to make this a little bit easier to test, I'm just going to do 4 I in range 4. And then we take all of this and select it, and hit the tab key, and that will indent it so it's inside the for loop. And now I can just do it all in one run. So once the color code, I'm going to do R, it should come back and tell me red. I'm going to do G, it should come back and say green. B should say blue. And X, and it should come back and say not a valid color code. Okay. So now I can get this out of there. That was just to make my testing a little more convenient. And now I've also got an indentation problem here. So let's do a shift tab and move it back towards the left margin. And this is one more problem that we don't need to run again. So I'm going to comment that one out as well. And put a little white space here in between. And now we want to ask the user for the height of a pyramid, and then we're going to draw an upside-down pyramid at a given height. So this is one that's going to take a little more thought before you actually start to solve it. Let's take a look. If the number is 5, then we get 0 spaces, and we get 9 stars. If the number, and then on the next row we get 1 space and 7 stars. I didn't want that. And then on the next row we get 2 spaces and 5 stars. On the next row we get 3 spaces and 3 stars. And on the next row we get 4 spaces and 1 star. Okay. Now you notice we're decreasing by 2 every time. Okay. So this is, we have a for loop, but the for loop's going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's pretty easy to do. 5 is going to remain number 5. That's the number that they can put. And this number, let me see, how is that related to 5 and row 0? Well, let's take my row, which is 0, times as this number goes up, this number goes down by 2. Okay. So row times 5 minus 1, I think. So this one's going to be 1. That's all right. Let's take 5 times row how do I get 9 in that first one? It's going to be twice the number of the height minus 1. Okay, so let's go with that. On the next row, it's going to be 5 times 2 minus 3. And the next row is going to be 5 times 2 minus 5. And the next row is going to be 5 times 2 minus 7. And the next row is going to be 5 times 2 minus 9. So then the question is, this is the same all the time. It's just double. It's just double whatever the height is. So then I'm subtracting 1, and then 3, and then 5, and then 7, and 9. So this is going up, but it's going up twice as fast as the row number. Okay, so I'm going to have to multiply by 2 here somewhere. So let's take the row number times 2. The row number in this case is 0 times 2 minus plus 1. Let's try this. So I want the row number, which is 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 equals 3. So I'm trying to get 3 there. And up here I kind of worked out something. 0 times 2 plus 1 equals 1. And it's going to be row number 2 times 2 plus 1 equals 5. And then this one is going to be 3 times 2 plus 1 equals 7. And this one is going to be 4 times 2 plus 1 equals 9. That's what I have to subtract. So this number right here, the row times 2 plus 1, is going to be my formula for what I have to subtract. To get the number of spaces, okay? And the number of stars is going to be, let's see, this also decreases. So I start off with this is a little bit, it's harder to do on here than it would be if I just had pencil and paper and just writing it out. So let's come back to this and let's go over here and let's ask the user for height. Okay. And then I know that if they give me the height, I'm going to have a for loop. Let's call it row and range height. Okay. And so, whoops, I gotta put a colon in there. So when I'm in here in the loop, I want to print row number row, which is I'm referring to the English variable here, and over here I'm just referring to the English word row. Okay, so that's going to involve print some spaces. And you have to do that, then print some stars. Okay, so I need to calculate how many spaces. So let's flip back over to our Word document and see if we can figure that out. So the number of spaces is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's easy enough. That's just what the value of my row variable is. Or, yes, my row variable. So for I in range, and we look to whatever the row value is. So first time it's 0, next time it's 1, next time it's 2. And what I want to do is I want to print that number of spaces, okay? Now, I'm not going to print space because you can't see a space when I print. I'm going to print a period instead, and I got to stay on the same line here. So I've also got to do n equals, and then just put an empty string there, okay? So I'm going to try to run that, and you know, you don't want to write the whole thing before testing to see if it works. So test it in little pieces and make sure that each part works. I spelled input wrong. Okay, so now let's try it. So my pyramid height is 5. And what I forgot to do was, when I do get done printing some spaces, and then I'm going to print some stars. When I get done printing the stars, I want to print, just do a regular plain old print statement, which will get me to a new line. So I'll try that again. I was getting the right number of spaces or periods there, but they were not in the right order. So 0, you know, there's a blank line here, and then 1 space, and then 2 spaces, and then 3, and then 4. Okay. So I've got that part down. And now what I want to do is for I in range, and then I've got to figure out how many stars I'm going to print out. So let's go back over here, and I think our algorithm for stars was the height times 2 minus the row times 2 plus 1 minus that whole quantity. So let's try that. So it's going to be, let's simplify this a little bit. Stars for this row equals height times 2 minus, and what did I say the rest of it was? The row times 2 plus 1. And so then we're in the range of stars. What I want to do is I want to print star, and I want to stay on the same line, and now let's try to run it. How about that? So, you know, the tricky part in all of this is, well, a couple of things, I guess. First, you've got to realize that there's 2 loops in here. One to do the stars, and one to do the spaces, followed by one to do the stars. And then, you know, you have to, in your, you know, on some scratch paper or something, you have to just basically write down the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the numbers 9, 7, 5, 3, 1, and the number 5, which is our height. And you know, this number right here is very easy because that's just the same as the row number. Okay. So the tricky part then is, you know, how do you get this? And it is decreasing by 2 every time. So you know that you're going to be multiplying something by 2 that's going to be subtracted. You got to figure out what your starting point is, and if you do a few of these, you see your starting point is always 2 times the height minus 1. So I got 5, it's going to be 9. If I got 3, it's going to be 5, which is 3 times 2 is 6 minus 1 is 5. So that's always the pattern there. And the way you look for patterns is by doing multiple examples of the same problem. And if you do several of them by hand, you'll start to see what the patterns are. So there's another way to do this that you might think is simpler. We just said that we know that the number of stars on this line, the number of stars on the first line is always going to be the height times 2 minus 1. Okay, so it'd be 9 if the height is 5. And then this part we're going to worry about. So what I want to do here is I want to just print out that many stars. Okay, And what do I know about the value of stars? Well, every time I go through the loop, it's decreasing by 2. So I could do that. Okay. And if I haven't made any mistakes here, that should also work. So let's try that. And let's type in 5 and hit enter. And if that's an easier way to do it, which I kind of think it might be, feel free to do it that way. It's not good to test it with just one input value. So let's try another value here. We'll try 3 like in the example in the instructions. And that works, and we'll just try one more here, and we'll do, we'll do 10, and hit enter, and so it should be 10 rows, and, oh, I didn't type 10, I typed 19. Let's try that again. Missed the key. Okay, so now, if I do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 rows, and you can see I'm increasing by 1. I've got a nice little pyramid shape there, so it is working correctly. Okay, that's we're about 21 minutes in this video, so I think I'll stop the video and we'll finish the practice test on a second video.